Shouthin' out Tano here. College Street, I remember. What up, dude? The internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for a review of the new Young Thug album, Jeffery. Young Thug, or Jeffery, is a prolific Atlanta rapper, songwriter, and crooner. Back with another project. It was bound to happen. Young Thug was not going to spend the rest of 2016 silent. He's already had a pretty big year with multiple projects under his belt like I'm Up and Slime Season 3. Projects that were received well by fans and a lot of major hip-hop critics out there. But personally, for me, by Young Thug standards, these tapes didn't really feel like anything special. I really thought Thugger was selling himself short on these projects because he has a standout voice, but there were so many forgettable choruses and verses on these projects. It felt like most of the time he was just kind of going through the motions and not really varying up his flow or his songwriting or even his instrumentals a lot of the time. He was just merely putting out the music that fans expected him to put out. And at first, I didn't really think this new project over here was going to be anything different, especially considering this tape's multiple gimmicks, which are bound to distract away from the actual content of the music. On the front cover here, we have Jeffery featured in his most gender-bent outfit yet, looking like the female version of Raiden from Mortal Kombat. And also, there are the eye-grabbing track titles on this thing, which I guess were named after people that Young Thug said on Instagram he idolizes. Among the names in the track list, Harambe the Gorilla, but also more obvious choices like GUWOP and RIRI, as well as Floyd Mayweather, and then Kanye West, whose track I read was actually originally named Elton, but then Pop Man, which is the ultimate slight, in my opinion, and totally hilarious. That Kanye's track used to be for somebody else. You know, just like everything else in Kanye's life, it was once somebody else's. Hey, put down the keyboard. You can stop typing real angry now. I'm just breaking your balls. Of course, the lyrics on these tracks have about zero to do with the people that they're named after a lot of the time, with the exception of tracks like Riri, whose chorus seems to reference her hit song Work, or the song Future Swag, where Young Thug tries to do a direct impression of Future's style and Future's music, and doesn't do too bad of a job in the process. Not that Future's rapping or singing or whatever you want to call it was really beyond Young Thug's talent. It wasn't, so he kind of just easily hit that mark. Now, you might as well just ignore the track titles on the rest of this thing unless you want them to lead you into a series of false assumptions. You have funny moments where Gucci Mane is featured on the project, but not on the track that is named after him. WYCLEF Jean is actually featured on the project, but not on the track that is named after him. What I will say is that surprisingly, Young Thug's shallow attempts at trying to get people's attention, which he's never not doing, actually don't take away from the quality of the music on this tape. From track one, it's clear that this isn't just gonna be another Thugger project, because he is featured riding this instrumental that is so heavily reggae inspired, with the upstroke guitars and the very slow, rock-steady, calm rhythm, the nice, warm, resonant bass. Young Thug's lead vocal is incredibly melodic, actually catchy, and it's backed up and elevated by some beautiful background vocals that make the track feel refined. Of course, in the lyrics here, we have Jeffery threatening people who mess with his money. Nothing new or incredibly revolutionary by Young Thug lyrical standards, but the track still remains captivating and catchy. Before I go deeper into this review, I will say trying to deeply analyze Young Thug lyrics and critique them as if you would like a verse from Nas, it's a fool's errand. I'm not gonna do it. Now, the vocal performances and the instrumentals and the hooks on this thing stay pretty varied and distinct as we go deeper into the track list. The song Floyd Mayweather features some of the stickiest flows on the entire project, some beautiful piano arpeggios weaved into an eerie beat. Although I wish that Gucci Mane and Travis Scott in the chorus of the track did a little bit more to break the song up. Especially when Travis Scott comes through, the track feels kind of monotonous at that point, especially since his feature is so underwhelming. Where things really seem to heat up on Jeffery is when the song Riri comes through, which is a fiery, passionate track which features pained lead vocals from Young Thug and a wild chorus where he's talking about how she does that work and she earns it, but he says, earn. Like Young Thug literally sounds like a seal as he is singing this hook. And somehow it works, oddly enough. The song is as freaky as it is sexually charged. Whether or not it actually turns you on, I'm just gonna leave that up to you to decide. And then we have the equally good GUWOP, which features Young Scooter and 2 members of Migos, Offset and Quavo. And this track features an epic, wintry, just frigid beat. Listening to this instrumental, I imagine Jeffrey in the middle of a snowstorm doing karate as snowflakes just fall in slow motion all around him. And on Harambe, you could say Young Thug legitimately goes apeshit. This is the most aggressive track I've ever heard him on. He's screaming his brains out. He's all over the place. He's just got it all the way in the red. And I would love to hear more tracks from him in the future where he goes this ballistic. It's a really entertaining cut. Again, I guess it's another track title that you could take literally in a way. Harambe, most aggressive cut in the track listing here. Despite the actual meaning of the name Harambe, but whatever. The song Webby is just merely okay, doesn't really stand out to me, but it fits into the very refined and pretty instrumental palette of the entire tape. And I do give it to Young Thug for delivering yet another energetic vocal performance in the track listing here. And then the closer, Kanye West, is actually another sort of reggae or dance hall flavored cut, which features even more good vocal melodies, especially since Wyclef Jean comes through on this track, dominates the second half. And there are plenty of moments on this cut where Young Thug is punctuating this great instrumental with these really weird vocalizations. They're really melodic and rhythmic, and they sound much better than what I'm doing right here. I'm sorry. I liked this project. Didn't love it, but I liked it, and I was surprised by that. I didn't go into this thing anticipating that I would come out enjoying it as much as I did, but I guess I can't really be too surprised, because even at my most disappointed with Young Thug, I've always thought that there's potential there. You know, he seems really eccentric. He seems out there. He seems on the fridge, and he's doing some strange things with his voice. If only he would push them into some better written songs, some better instrumentals, some more memorable hooks, or at least, you know, just experiment a little bit. And while this album didn't do all of those things to the point where I'm head over heels for it, it did all of them just enough to keep me entertained for the majority of it. I'm feeling a light to decent 7 on this thing. Transition. Have you given this Jeffery tape a listen? Will you be calling Jeffrey from now on and yelling at people like morons every single time someone calls him Young Thug? Let me know down in the comments. I'm sure you will. Did you love this thing? Did you hate this thing? What was your favorite track off of it? Did Harambe go hard? Let me know, okay? You guys are the best forever.